Hello everyone, and welcome to what will be the last episode of Palworld. So, full disclosure, I did record this before, but was very unhappy with how the video turned out. I wanted to show off a mod on my last episode, and that was a bad idea. The one I chose was Pal Army, so I basically had my raid team set up, went and did the Hartalis raid, but boy was it laggy. Like, hitches every couple seconds. So, I decided to re-record without the mod. And yeah, just going to show off the way the base ended up. Some of my favorite pals. Then we're going to do the Hartalis fight, and I'll do my closing. Yep. See, this is the main section of the base, of course. It was very familiar. I have spent so long in this corner here. You would not believe it. Decided not to upgrade the hot springs because I love these, even though you go through the stairs, which I really hate. Hatched every egg I got. Now I think I actually prefer the ones up there rather than having this one. It's nice to be fast, but with the Grindtail and the Bronze Cherries, it really is just better to have a breeding farm. Certain ones I really don't like how this one you require handiwork and kindling. You need cooling and kindling, handiwork and medicine production. I love the speed of them. I don't like how they split into two like that. There's a lot of interesting things. Using my research stand as your pillow, Grisbolt. Watching him sleep. I am still very happy about how you can literally just have your base run with. Don't even need the two of these, 4 human. But adjacent if you count Zoe and Grisbolt. Yep, then of course we have our living area up here, conveniently sealed off from all the pals. And you can see in the background, I did do the thing. I did go into the files and make the bosses capturable. Now, it is an interesting thing. So, very obvious you're not supposed to catch Zanara. You can really see that when you go into her attacks. And I leveled her up a couple, so she got those. But yeah, you see World Tree unique attacks. Paldium Shot, Paldium Rain, Paldium Cannon, Paldium Explosion. So really cool. Oh, I do like how it says this pal's abilities are still being investigated, instead of just calling it a human. So, goes to show that they're probably working on an actual Astralim pal. The rest, it is interesting. I was seeing if they had, like how some of them can have new icons and such. Didn't see any, so unfortunate. If I remember right, Lily was second place in the popularity contest they did way back when, but they would probably do a new popularity contest. And while personally, my vote would probably be Saya because I love the aesthetic. I bet you Ori would definitely win. Almost no question. Aside from that, random little tidbits to mention. I do enjoy that the Panthalis fight was so good that you almost see nobody talking about the end game fight. Everyone's just obsessed with the Panthalis fight. Other random nitpicks I have about endgame can wait until later, but mostly I like the wingsuit. It's not worth it. It needs to be earlier game with easier wing cells in order for it to actually be worth anything. Now, I will show off the next thing I'm going to talk about actually in here. Because the other thing I did was, you can probably see him right here. There is, it should be Bastigor and Xiaolong. That should be all of them. I went and got the corrupted pals. Or, sorry, heavily modified. People keep posting pictures of these calling corrupted pals. They're heavily modified or whatever. But yeah, interesting little thing about them. You can see their passives are bugged. You can still ride them and all that. Their passives are just glitched out. Also, look how massive Astrolin is. Just by comparison. But anyways. Sort. And I think it's time. Let's do our fine little fight. It's worth noting, this is actually a pretty tough fight because my build doesn't affect it. And also I do want you to see that the Astralim does actually have a pretty low HP pool. Put his tornado on the PAL box, you punk. Right now, I put them all at the end. I just summoned level ones. Nope, don't actually do anything. I do love how Medusa can just tank everything with that Immortality Diamond Body combo. Electric attacks. I don't have electric... Oh wait, I just sent out a bunch of Univolt Crysts. Ha! That was not intended. Anyway, second phase time. Is down. You guys are down. That's not good. Oh. That apparently did not work out very well. And now I can't see. I could just hear the Mycor I just sent out die. Oh, I sent out too many. Oh, there goes the Corrupted Lily. That's the one. No, that wasn't the Corrupted Lily, was it? That must have been one of my base Lilies. But Nusa is still just holding her up. I just fed you all. Why are you already hungry? For reference, I was spawning them out at base in between the episodes because a lot of them were starving when I was recording before. Oh yeah, you should not have chosen dark. And I just had them scarf their faces, and they're already hungry again. But yeah, and at that, you can see the entire PAL Dex is now filled up. I didn't, of course, finish all of the EXP boost ones, but I now do have at least one of every single PAL. boy, there's a lot of them. I was only halfway through for the record. Oh, yeah. Still scrolling. Still scrolling. Oh, boy. And, of course, there's Atom and all that. So, yeah. That's it. That is everyone. That's a relic recycler. That is not where you put eggs. So, set our egg in here. Destructive savior. Anyways, I will probably do all the ultra fights off camera just because I will of course want to do them. They're really not any different than the normal fights. It just involves me running in and swapping the pals more often. I just don't think they make for a good recording session. Look at all these pals. No, like that. It looks primo. You actually did really well. Good job. Oh, bloody starving now, though. And then the ones that knocked out ones are up again. Oh no, that was just a random Mylene that I caught. Okay. But yeah, I see. Actually, it does have a decent amount of health. Never mind. It just doesn't have any passives or such to help protect it. Now, this is pretty much where the content ends, by the way. So, if you were just here for new content and not me rambling, this is where you can say goodbye. Put in the comments if there is anything else you want to see, or put in the comments what your favorite pals are, because that's kind of what I'm about to just talk about for a while. I'm going to list some of my favorite pals, some of my favorite moments in the game, and just do a bit of a retrospective. So, for those of you who are about to click off, hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next series. Bye-bye. And for those of you stuck around, don't complain. This rambling is literally what you are sticking around for. So anyways, obviously I share the probably favorite moment of the Panthalis fight. That battle was just absolutely amazing. But probably some of my favorite moments were after the last fight, when they have you wake up back on the beach again with kind of your team. And I heard that you can have some mainly used pals there, which probably explains why I had Celine with me, because I used that as a mount for quite a long time. I honestly didn't really get too much because, for reference, I've done this extremely fast despite the recording sessions being spaced out, so you probably didn't think it seemed fast. But today is day 77. Most of these series I've seen, people get past day 100, 120 something, and they still don't have the game done. Because and I'm not saying I'm very good at the game, this is just because I've done everything before. I've done this extremely fast, so yeah. There is a bunch of requests I would have for the game, of course. Mainly, I would like to get some more of these pals. Like, they were talking about how there's probably a way to, what was it? Basically some way to artificially create an Astralim. Honestly, I don't want that. I would love it if there was something you could do, some special quests you could complete to actually save Zanara and Astralim. And then instead of just having an Astralim as a pal, it's just Zanara and Astralim. Because I do like that there's only one. Being able to just artificially breed them kind of ruins that, even though it's nice in its own way. Plus, it's just kind of sad, you know? Also, I'm going to take off the drones. Other than that, personally, I would just love to be able to actually ride a Lylene like Lily does. You really can't do that, and that's such a shame because Lylene has been one of my favorite pals since basically release. You know, I'm a kind of a sucker for the more humanoid ones. Because it does kind of just feel like you're traveling with friends instead of pets. So, the fact that she gets to ride the Lylene and I can't is just, it's mean. I should be able to. After that, I love how I could just have a few humans doing my base stuff, and I don't actually need many pals. Unless, of course, you count Grisbolt, which, if I wanted to go humans only, blah blah blah, I could do that whole PIDF Rayhound thing. Because that one says it's a human in the description, but I'm just counting Zoe, because, yeah. It's Zoe and Grisbolt, and it's actually an intended thing. Once she gets the minigun, it's kind of just a bonus. Other than that, I have not seen someone doing a human-only run. So, if those are in the works, I don't know about it. Next, let's talk favorite pals. And this is going to be a long one, because I'm going to actually go through the Palpedia and just kind of just point out ones which I like, ones that I enjoyed. Honestly, this is kind of a weird one. I like Landball. They are adorable. Probably my favorites are the early game ones. Aside from that, honestly, most of them don't really resonate with me. Cough, cough, Eevee, hello. Herbal is one I see a lot of people love. Honestly, not really one I'd use. The way I see it, if I get downed in a fight, I probably should have just lost said fight. Another chance really doesn't make a difference. But I see why people like it. Pupperai. Amazing. Great early game. I love that they added it to the beginner area, and I love that it ups your melee damage because that's what you do mostly early game. Clovey, adorable. Not much else to say. Gathering is not very useful, and it's not very useful itself, but adorable planter. Aside from that, Daydream's cute. I like that it gives you a little army. Not one I use into the late game, though. Bell, you cannot not love that adorable little dope. I still have one of these, which I use as my end game kindler. Foxparks are also kind of nice. I like small pals for the base. And I was originally using a Foxparks and Foxpark Chris, which I upped to max for my furnaces. That Dire Howl, still my favorite dungeon clear. But there's not really much to it besides that. Jelliet and Gelroy, absolutely adorable combo. I do still find it weird. It says it sometimes appears as sub 2 when Jelliet is unavailable. Its acting is so flawless that no one ever notices the switch. How? I don't even see how it closely resembles Jelliet to begin with. Closely resembles Gelroy. Very social, and when plans overlap, it asks its friend Gelroy to go in its place. as things one day. That's so dopey. And then they kind of just did a whole other thing with Amion, which is an adorable little one. I have yet to actually make one of these, which can do everything. But it is absolutely adorable. And I love it. I absolutely love the fact that it has a maw on its head, by the way. And then, Gloopy. Probably my favorite water pal. It's so cute. And then, of course, if you read the freaking description. Oh, right. Its description is weird. This one. I just was like, wait a second, are they the same? No, they're not. It's even worse. Sure, check your plans the next day before falling asleep with his pal. His suction cups leave marks that look suspiciously like hickeys. One sleepy cuddle session could lead to some truly awkward misunderstandings. And then this one, same thing, only it looked like bite marks. One sleepy cuddle session could lead to some truly unnecessary concern. So yeah, these two would probably ruin my social life, because worth it. A lot of people really like Wispa. It's cute, I get it. Not really for me, though. If I had to choose one of those looks, I'd probably like Hoodle more, because it's adorable. My brother really likes Loop. Again, I can see why. Not for me. Muffley is another one a lot of people really like. Yeah. Bristle was one of my other early game favorites. That and Cinemoth. I've always found Cinemoth very cute. Puffled is like the dopiest of the new pals. I do like that one. Also, probably unpopular opinion. Vanworm, I love using it as an early game mount, just purely because of the cloak-like back look. Tyrantris is, of course, an adorable one. Don't know how you could not like that. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to make like a top 10 or anything. I would have to remember everything at once, and I just don't do that. Linaris was one of my old favorites early game. Not so much these days. My friend actually adores Linaris, though, so it's a good one. I do love Battalia. She's basically just a chibi. Like a little bobblehead. Also Leafan. That's just a hilarious description. Dassy used to be one of my favorites, not so much anymore. Purely because Lucky Dassy really gets in the way of the camera. And that annoyance has kind of just ruined it for me. Super speed fish. Nothing else to say. I do like Bronze Cherry. Bronze Cherry Aqua is adorable. Definitely not one of my top used ones, though. Well, except if you count the breeding. Magix didn't really get the appeal of it. I know a lot of people love Magix. And then I read this. It's be striking a heroic pose, but the reality is that it's simply bracing itself against the weight of its tail and hair to avoid toppling over. Then I adored it. I get it. That's adorable. Also, Siblix, love big hats. Shoots it up there. Oh, Iceland, probably my favorite ice pal. It's just so cute, and the noise it makes is adorable as well. Lulu. Everybody loves Lulu. Spins when it builds. Cutest thing ever. I also like Starion. It's kind of just always been a cool mount. I have one that I use as a mount sometimes. Which, yeah. I do wish that it wasn't just during the night it gets the speed boost, because it's so fast. Trying to remember what I ended up using instead. I think it was Azure Main. But aesthetically, I love this one. The Primo, honestly, not so much. Though I do see why some people would like it. Carnivora. Wait. Sorry, how did I just do that? I just spun it. Did just spin it, right? I'm not going crazy. I'm going crazy, apparently. Anyways, I love the maw on the back of the head. I love the fact that when it's walking away, you literally just think, oh, look, a giant carnivorous plant. And you turn around like, oh, it's a person. Between this one and my Korra, it's the mouse wheel. It is the mouse wheel. Anyways, I love that, and I love how she builds by smacking with her tongue. I will say I think I like my Korra's design a bit more than Carnivora, but very close. Very close. Duelith, an amazing design. They absolutely cooked with that one. Sekhmet, everyone is obsessed with. I get it. The random cat girl. But yeah, I shouldn't really talk too much about it because it's weird. I've seen some weird ass fan art out there. But I did see one which was her in an Egyptian skin, and absolutely, if there's a skin of this one, that needs to be it. Also, randomly, Trickster has really grown on me during this playthrough. I have just grabbed it because its ability was great, but that dopey ass face just grew on me after a while. Nyafia, this one I thought my brother would love. He didn't end up liking it as much as I thought he would. But I love how many people are memeing about just the horrible accuracy with their shotgun. Deserved. You suck at it. Brunelia, still one of my favorite for base gardening. Built-in insomnia. Increase harvesting, which is more without the extra work, which is great. And also, she's just so freaking cute. Another one, Nightmare. It never clicked to me that this was a bunny. That is all. The Verdash redesign, I barely even noticed it at first, but yeah, I like the redesign. Splatterina, still one of my tops. Would you be my top Dark Pal? I guess that really depends on if I can count Celine as my favorite neutral pal. Then absolutely. Favorite. Love the design, love the aesthetic. Absolutely adore the hair. Also, I fell asleep with one, and I will never sleep again. Celestia. Amazing aesthetic. Horrible passive. I'll pass. Oh, there's Ashy Me. Yeah, this one gets the air dash that I never used, but as fast as Starion doesn't really have the... I forgot you were added, and you are so cute. You gotta be so late game. Oh, there's Hoodle. So derpy. When it sleeps, it deflates. When it sleeps, it's no longer there. Sleeping Hoodle cannot exist. Therefore, Hoodle never sleeps. Why? I need to make one of these. Might make a whole Ivy covered team build later. Because that just sounds good. Totally not just an excuse because it's cute. Bakyemi. Absolutely adorable. Absolutely adorable description. Good effect too. Le Pure is also a great one. I do like the aesthetic. The built-in sun slash snow hat is adorable. I love how the ears and the hair kind of seem like they're connected. It's just cute. Very good passive skill, by the way. Not one I ever used, just because I didn't have many active skills in my party. But it's nice. Eidolon. Absolutely love it. Very good partner skill if you actually plan on just using it. There's just so many flyers out there that I like. It's really hard to pick a favorite. Fly, Fatbird, fly. Never one I used. Good for official. I absolutely love the robe aesthetic. Did not actually end up using it. Want to use it more. Might again make a flyer team, and this will be a very important part of that. Ophidia's great. Absolutely gorgeous aesthetic. Do need to breed them because I do wish it was a little bit smaller so you don't clip through it. Again, really cute. Love its effect. Love its description. They absolutely could with this one. If it weren't for like Gloopy and Jellyed and all of them, would be one of my favorite water pals. But it has a lot of competition, especially in the grass pals. My friend is obsessed with Dupin. It's hilarious. Brujay, I do think purely because of his aesthetic and all that, he's probably my favorite flyer. And I love the fact that when you go to pet him, he pets you as well. How could you just not like that dopey guy? He's like theater kid times 100. Manusa. Another contender to would be my favorite if Celine wasn't a thing. Probably like third place. I love the aesthetic with the snakes. Don't necessarily like that when you go in closer, she looks like she's a Muppet. But that's kind of just the graphic style. I get it. I'm assuming she's supposed to actually have like scales on her face, but it just looks fuzzy. Oh, probably the only one that can give Eileen and all that a run for favorite grass pal. So cute. I can't believe they actually made her say Ada. I want to use her so bad, but with the effects, she just doesn't really have a solid place in a main team. But again, you can make anything work, so why not? Why not make Aura? Adorable. Again, very stiff competition in a dark team, but adorable. I will not ever do the thing which people mostly use this for, which was small pencils. How could you put this in a butchery? That's just cruel. Best thing ever made. Absolute best pal in the game. Can't be beat. Says yeah. And I love that everybody has her at the party because her passive skill is just so good. As for me, I just saw this. I was like, put that in my party right now. And then she said yeah, and I was like, best thing ever. I am obsessed. On that, Renjishi. Very good one. Look at that aesthetic. No, I have not ever used him. No, I have not even ever considered him on the party. But then I saw him and I was like, yes, give me your hair. I want it. I wanted to wear it. Headset included. Oh, and actually that is a good skill right there. And if you want to make a burn team, right there. Yeah, good job. A lot of people love this one. Not for me. Eileen and Eileen Noct still kind of hold on to that sort of favorite position from when the game first break-in launched. They are still way up there. If only you could ride Eileen. All of my dreams would come true. Berserk's actually in a lot of parties now because of the passive skill. I can very much see why. Just permanent 150 if you have the drone launcher or the Terra Prisma. Celine's another one up there for like favorite flyer. I love that you sit on the moon. If only you could shoot off of her. Then she'd probably be one of my favorites. Xiaolong, everyone loves it. I see why. Not one I would use too much. Especially because you clip into the hair, which is weird. Then there's Bella Noir and Bella Noir Libero. Still, not many beats her when it comes to pure attack. Good. She's amazing. She needs more love. Just look at that aesthetic. Absolute perfection. Palladius Necromus. Again, I love this aesthetic. Necromus is probably the one I personally use as a mount more often. I tried to kind of avoid it because, again, I used him extensively in my last playthrough, but it's still way up there. Love the half horse knights. Panthalis, loved the boss fight, loved the aesthetic. Would personally never use it because it's just so big. It kind of just puts everything else pointless. But really cool pal. Then there's Astralim. Like I said, I want so badly. Oh, you can't turn this one. I want so badly to be able to actually save the two of them rather than actually just genetically create one. They really did a great job making that fight feel pretty epic, but purely because of scale, I think Panthalis is a lot more memorable to most people. Well, I guess we gotta do the thing. Favorites in each type. Goopy Primo is a new one. The Pure is pretty nice. Celine's pretty nice. But I will give this one to Celine by far. And I'm not going to include her in the dark one purely because she would just win both hands down. Let's see, who is my favorite fire pal? Is it Flambell? Talia, Ignis, and Magix are kind of high up there now. Lyrical is also really cool. Gee, she is amazing. But yeah, I think I am actually going to give it to Flambell. She's just so adorable. How could you not love her? And also, like I said, I do like the smaller pals. Had to pick. But, yeah. Do what? I think I'm gonna tie it between Flambell and Flarical. Probably Flarical's just a little bit below though, so I still think Flambell's favorite. But then tie Flambell and Magix for second place. Yeah, I think that's gotta be it. This is gonna be a tough one. So, we just make sure I'm not forgetting any first. Ophidia's great, but not going to be on the chopping block for favorite. So, Jelliet, Amione, and Gloopy. I think Amion's going to be solid third place. Between Jelliet and Gloopy, though, I think I have to say Gloopy. You just cannot not love that. But I think favorite water pal? Gonna be Gloopy. Second favorite, Jelliet. Don't think I'm forgetting anything. Yeah. It is what it is. This one's probably gonna be the hard one. Grass types. Aesthetically, I do actually really like Elizabeth Beegard, but more just as a kid. I don't really like either one too much. I adore Petalia, but not as much as I adore some of the other ones, so it's knocking me out there. Same for Leafan. You're probably like 5th and 4th? There's just so many cute grass pals. So here's the big one. Eileen and Mycora. The favorite of old, the favorite of new. I think I'm actually going to just tie them for first because I just love them both so much. If I absolutely had to pick one, I'd probably pick Eileen purely for the description. This one protects orphans. This one wants to use you for parasitic spores. So I'll say first is Eileen, second is Mycora, third that's tough. Third, fourth, fifth. And you'd probably be 6 and 7. Yeah, 6 and 7. The Grasswoods have a heavy competition. So now this one I'm actually curious to go through because I don't think I necessarily really like any. Like Dazzy, especially Dazzy Noct, was my old favorite. I think it still is. Yeah. I think Dazzy Noct specifically, probably still my favorite. Really just don't end up giving electrical pals much attention. I think aside from that, probably Azure main. I like Grisbolt. I don't know. Maybe Orzerk. Gives Dazzy a run for its money, but probably like Dazzy, then Orzerk, then Azure main, then Grisbolt. I just don't really use the electric pals too often. Yeah, I don't really see any here that I say are a must. Ice. This one's probably an obvious one. I'm pretty sure I've already said what it is. Just see if I change my mind. It's even highlighted. Wow, okay. I see how it is. Yeah, no. Okay. Iceland it is. By and far. Probably the easiest category. Second place. Yeah, honestly, Frost Stallion is cool, but probably not anywhere close, so yeah, probably like third place. So yeah, I think Civil Explorer, I take the second spot. Round. Another one I don't usually use too much. Duelist is a great one. Do I like Anubis or Sekhmet more? That's the question. I think I'm gonna choose Sekhmet in that case. I think like Sekhmet, Anubis, Duelith. Aside from that, honestly the rest aren't even too worth mentioning. Pupperai is great, but definitely not one of my favorites. Dark. Things get complicated. Could choose Gloopy, but I think I chose her as my favorite for the water. I can eliminate her. Torrantris is pretty high up there. As he kind of fell off. Ajax is pretty high up there. Starion's pretty high up there. Celine would of course win everything, but she is already chosen for the neutral, so I don't have to. So yeah, I think Splatterina. Splatterina would be my favorite Dark Pal. She would be under Celine if I was counting her, but she'd still be very high up even if I was counting her. Like probably first, and she'd still be second. I don't think I see anyone here that would really change that. Guess Bella Noir. That's a pretty tough one. Splatterina or Bella Noir? I do think I would choose Splatterina. But yeah, very high up there still. Now here's an interesting one. Dragons. Well, usually I would definitely use tons of dragons. I don't think in Palworld I really use them too often. Xiaolong is really cool. Eidolon's pretty cool. Sylvatus I think is probably my favorite just purely based on aesthetic. But it's a tough one. It's a really hard choice actually. I think of these, probably pick Xiaolong as my favorite. The dragon is great, just he gives me like Digimon vibes. He's a jet, he's a dragon. He has a missile launcher. So yeah, probably Xiaolong. That's all of my favorites. That was actually really tough. That was a tough one. Anyways, if you stuck around, definitely put what your favorite pal is in the comments, and I will judge them. What gives me a right to judge them? Nothing. Your favorites will be just as valid as mine. And how will I judge them? I will probably just put a heart on any of them. So, yeah, there's that. But yeah, I mean, put your favorite pals in the description. I will respond to it. Put any content you would still like to see in the comments, and I will consider it. I did not realize you could see Anthalos' tongue. I am now scarred for life. That really threw me off. But yeah, if you have a favorite pal, put it in the comments. Anything you want to see, put it in the comments. Hell, even just if you have a favorite part of content, put that in the comments, and again, maybe I'll do a little carry-on victory lap. Though this has very much just been to, of course, finish up the content by doing the Hartalis raid. And really just kind of me blabbing about what I liked about this game. Oh, wow, we've gone for 50 minutes. That's a lot of talking. No wonder my throat hurts. But yeah, this game started off as like almost mobile game levels. Like the only thing that really seemed to catch people's attention was, oh yeah, look, it's Pokemon with guns. And it has turned into so much more than that. Like genuinely, I kind of am sick of Pokemon. I was a Digimon kid. I grew up on Digimon, not Pokemon. So I've always kind of preferred that. And when it came to Pokemon, they've just been so lazy lately that I genuinely just stopped. I didn't finish Sword and Shield. And then Legends Arceus came out, and I was so happy that they were finally doing something different. And that basically made me buy Scarlet and Violet. But then it was just back to the same old thing. And I finished those games, but I didn't even do the DLCs, which is kind of the same thing I did with Sword, now I think about it. I finished one of the DLCs, but not the other. This, I've done everything. If they add more, I will come back and probably do it, though I might not record it. I am very happy that there is something out there now for Pokemon fans who are sick of Pokemon just not doing anything. This has been amazing. You want to play it like the random auto battler? You can do that. You want to choose pals, switching in and out, doing their big moves and all that? You can do that. You want to play without pals completely? You can do that. There's just so much more freedom, and I do love that. And of course, I'm not saying like you gotta pick one or whatever. Both can and should exist. I just hope that this actually makes it where Pokemon actually does things. Because if I had to pick one of the two, I would pick Palworld. It's always an interesting thing. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing where this game goes from here. I'm not expecting much else. I'm expecting like a few dungeons, new pals, blah blah blah. But yeah, do hope you guys have enjoyed this series. And I'm kind of just rambling at this point because I don't want it to end. But everything has to end eventually. And this is where I'm going to cut this because otherwise it'll just be Farming Simulator 24/7. Which is probably my one big complaint about this game, is they did make the end game grind a bit too much with those AI cores. That was just bad. Everything else was great. I am disappointed by the wingsuit though. But again, that's more of a thing with the ammo more than anything. And honestly, it's not too bad. Once you get to this point, you can make a ton of them. It's just like, really? 1 for 10 and 20? I'm gonna think of it, I still need to break my oil thing because I buffed these. So maybe my complaint is completely unfounded. But, whatever. I'm not going to. They did originally have this game a lot darker, I'd say. You can still see what's coming with pals, but like I was reminded about the mind control meds recently, and I never had a use for those, so I didn't actually know what they did. I kept some just in case. It turns out, if your pals were absolutely miserable, they could actually just become a dissident. That was an interesting thing. I've never seen that because I treat my pals well. When I remember. Ah, well. Like I said, though, I'm rambling because I really just don't want this to end. So, I do hope you guys have enjoyed this series, and I will see you in our next little adventure. Until then, I will just be here keeping Zanara and Astralim company, so they can't destroy the world. Because, yeah, lore reasons. Why not? So, I hope you guys have enjoyed this series, and I will see you in our next one. Bye-bye.